Hey there, it's Coach Mark. Are you a young ball player wanting to play in college? Or maybe you're the parent of a young ball player and you're feeling a little confused and a little overwhelmed with how all this works. Well, I got some great news for you. After 20 years of helping young athletes and their parents, I decided to create a 1-hour webinar specifically to help you understand everything that matters in this journey, and maybe more importantly, everything that doesn't matter. This webinar will address important questions like, when does the recruiting process start? What do college coaches look for? How do you get exposure? How does the transfer portal change everything? What about playing other sports? Is that important? What about travel baseball? What about camps, showcases, combines? What about lifting weights? You see, all of these questions that you need to know the answer to are addressed in the webinar. So if you're a young player wanting to play in college, this webinar is for you. If you're the parent of a young ball player and you want to help your son to the best of your abilities, this webinar was created just for you. You know, we have seen more changes in the last year in college baseball than we have in the previous 20 years. And if you're not aware of how all of this impacts you as a high school athlete or the parent of a young ball player, well, you could end up on the wrong side of these changes, and we don't want that to happen to you. Right? You know, when I first started this crazy journey with my 12-year-old son, Christian, back in 2006, things were very different than they are today. We didn't have the transfer portal. We didn't have social media. We didn't have college athletes getting paid to play. Back then, college coaches weren't making millions of dollars a year. Yes, college baseball is a big business now, and that has changed everything for young athletes that want to play in college. The truth is, it's harder today for a high school athlete to move on to college than it's ever been. But that doesn't mean it can't happen. I know it's confusing and it's overwhelming, but we can help you, okay? So this webinar is all about solutions. I do have great news for you in the webinar. I'm going to swing the odds in your favor with information. I simply want to help you understand the process and then strip away everything that doesn't matter, that's confusing you, and help you get some clarity and some confidence. The truth is, there are so many important decisions that you're going to need to make, and you don't get do-overs in this. Unfortunately, you need to get it right the first time through. That's why this webinar is so important. So I'm doing this webinar to help parents and their young athletes get this right. You see, this is my profession. This is what I do for a living. I absolutely love this. These young kids remind me of me, and they remind me of my son when he was young. They have their dreams out in front of them, and we want to help them get it right, okay? So the webinar is loaded with information that's going to help you get this right. Okay, so the last thing I want to say is I want you to register for the webinar, spend an hour with me, get the information that really, really matters, strip away everything that doesn't matter. And to make this really, really a no-brainer, I put an unconditional satisfaction guarantee with this webinar. So you could literally pay the $39, watch the webinar, not feel like it's the value you hoped, and get all your money back. Now, I know that's not going to happen because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've got my finger on the pulse of this. So the information I'm giving you is the real information. I don't have an agenda. I don't have a kid in the game. I just want to give you the right information. But even if it wasn't the right information for you, you have no risk. You have everything to gain, nothing to lose by watching this webinar. So register for the webinar, and I'll see you on the other side.